This is Jesse Yaginuma. He just won $1.2 million and a World Series of Poker Championship bracelet. Except what you're seeing is fake. None of this really happened. And the reasons why are shocking. Jesse was stripped of his title, his bracelet forcibly removed. And worst of all, it looks likely that he was just banned from not only the World Series of Poker, but all Caesars properties as well. So where did it all go wrong? And were the decisions of high-up executives justified? Or perhaps did they take it a step too far? It looks like the story of Jesse Yaginuma and James Carroll has taken a dark turn. This story about Jesse and James at the World Series of Poker is one of the biggest poker stories I've seen in my life. In fact, it made front page ESPN when it came out, and it's resulted in one of, if not the biggest videos out of the gate on my channel in its 9-year history. Don't worry, I know how much you guys hate drama, so I'll make sure to do more Pocket Fives videos. I'm sure those will be just as popular. But this story rivals some of the largest stories we've seen in poker. Postle, Robbie, Tamayo. This is right up there with any of them in terms of how captivating it grabbed the poker world's attention. If you somehow missed the story, here are the cliff notes. Essentially, Club WPT Gold has a promotion going where if you win an eligible summer major, which was primarily World Series of Poker events and one of their online events called the WPT Championship, if you win any of those and you would want a Gold Rush ticket, you win $1 million on top of what was already likely a quite large prize. It's common for promotions like this from Gold. In fact, if you've never purchased on the site and you use code Doug, you'll get 20 sweeps coins free on your first purchase. Back to this event though, I don't want to rehash too much here, but the point of the matter is this 9-handed final table seemed all good until it got down to heads up, in which case one of the two players that needed to win in order to get the extra $1 million was very short stacked. And then all of a sudden went on a gigantic run up, including many extremely questionable hands to win the event outright and win the extra $1 million. Now, what I can say is as a professional heads of no limit player for many years, these hands were pretty ridiculous and certainly not things you would see while playing heads up no limit between two competent players. As both of these guys are regulars, it seems incredibly likely to me that these guys were colluding together to ensure Jesse got first place. You can argue whether you think that's okay or not, but the point is the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, and this pudding doesn't look very good. If you want to see that full story, I'll put a link to that video below so you can get caught up to speed. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about what is happening moving forward with these two players. So initially, we saw that the World Series of Poker awarded Jesse the bracelet, and then shortly thereafter came out with this post. Last night, we were made aware of a potential breach of the official WSOP tournament rules during heads up play in event 53. An investigation is underway. At this time, first and second place have not been confirmed, and neither the prize money nor the bracelet have been officially awarded. That's weird because to me, the bracelet looks pretty awarded right now. You can't just give an award and then take it away later because you decide you want to. What do you think this is, college football? On edge, the poker community waited 4 days to see how this would play out. Would Club WPT Gold pay the $1 million to the winner? Would WSOP pay out both players? Would a bracelet be awarded? Would these guys be banned? We all sat in suspense until we're finally starting to get some answers today. Like, for example, we now know that you get 20 free sweeps coins with your first purchase using code Doug. But we also know that Club WPT Gold will be paying out its $1 million prize. There was some debate, not very much, but a little bit, that people thought that maybe because these players worked together to have Jesse win, that they should not pay it out. I think that was bullshit. I think if you have a promotion like this, it's important to pay the players out. And I am thankful to see that the company that I represent is paying out these people for winning the promotion and not trying to get nitty-gritty to not pay out money, which we've all seen in poker a time or two. He will be winning the $1 million bonus, and maybe half of it will be spent somewhere in particular. My guess, the other half of Team Rocket.
Prepare for trouble!
Make it double!
Jesse!
James!
So we know what WPT is doing, but what about WSOP? Well, we found that out with this tweet on Monday night saying the investigation into WSOP Event 53 has been completed. We have concluded that in order to uphold the integrity of the game and to uphold our official WSOP tournament rules, no winner will be recognized and no bracelet will be awarded for this year's tournament. The remaining prize pool will be split between the final 2 players. First reactions here, I would say, are generally positive. People like that the players are getting paid out appropriately. People do not like it when large government or corporate entities take away money that should be owed to them. So people were happy to see these 2 players to get paid. Also, I think generally speaking, people were at least okay with the idea of no bracelet because, let's be honest, Jesse was probably not going to win that tournament unless there was some intervention. So the idea that neither player gets a bracelet didn't rub too many people the wrong way, although there were some people that did feel like the bracelet should still stand. But the more interesting part of this is in what the World Series of Poker didn't say, as rumors are beginning to circulate that the players have received a lifetime ban from the World Series of Poker for their actions in this tournament. Twitter user Casey J. Long has been answering many tweets on this, saying that he heard about it directly from Kroll, which I believe means James Carroll, and then has responded to a bunch of different people about what happened. High-stakes poker player Sam Greenwood weighed in saying, win $1 million, get a $500K bonus, and get a lifetime ban from the World Series of Poker. Talk about a dream summer. Imagine that. Never having to go back to the Rio. Or the, what was it? But if you can't go to the World Series of Poker, how are you going to stay up to date on all the latest news? Wait, I've got a good idea. Hit subscribe. I got you guys. Barry Carter weighed in with this tweet saying, live footage of Phil Hellmuth begging WSOP officials for the spare bracelet they have laying around. Hats off, Barry. Well played. A lot of debate has also sprung up about if players should be allowed to deal at all, what it means for the event, and all of that kind of stuff. And I just have to say here for a second, guys, this is my belief, and this comes from a poker player and a card room owner and a business guy, whatever you want to look at me as. I feel like I've worn a lot of hats. When you get deep in a tournament, in my opinion, the money belongs to the players, period. And if they want to facilitate a deal, you should try to help them with that. And if they want to agree that somebody wins because they get the trophy, in my opinion, it's up to them. Now, I know that we are trying to do this whole thing to protect how important and prestigious these bracelets are. That's why we only have 100 events. Can I get the over on 100 for 2026? I'm just saying. I like the over. Every year we add more and more and more bracelets, online bracelets, European bracelets, smaller and smaller stakes bracelets, new game bracelets, rings. Basically, there is jewelry as far as the eye can see, and it's only becoming more and more and more and more, because the reality is when you are a poker operator, your goal is to make money by operating poker. We have to protect the image of this tournament series, which is why I'd like to invite you guys out to play in the $3,000 Torse event. This is about ensuring that the winner of every World Series of Poker bracelet actually won all of the chips there on their computer. This is about the prestige that comes with high stakes poker buy-ins, like the $300 Gladiator. My thoughts on that event? The reality is it is the poker players' money. They paid to enter it, and you should help them do what is necessary to facilitate the awards, the payouts as they see fit. Now, that is clearly not the take that we have here from the World Series of Poker. There are many other operators that feel differently as well. They want to ensure that the winner won this legitimately. But here's the catch, and this is a great point that someone brought to me the other day. Do you think this is the first time that two players kind of colluded together to make sure somebody won? I'm pretty sure this has happened before in World Series of Poker history. So what they're kind of saying is, okay, if you want to get to the end of a tournament and collude, you just got to make sure you're doing it smart. Good. That's a great takeaway for everyone. I don't want to go too far on this one because it still is unclear. Are they permanently long-term banned or not? And I have to say, if they are, I think that's messed up. I don't think you should be banning players for this. It was pretty unclear what was going on. In fact, in my mind, this is not as bad as what happened last year with the laptop on the rail Tamayo incident, where they were running sims in between hands to know what ranges should look like. I mean, that is expressly against the rules, whereas this one, In the rule book, it kind of does say you need to have a third party in there that's being impacted for this to stand. So in my eyes, this is actually more of a gray area, not less of a gray area, but for some reason we're going after it much harder. I do hope these players aren't banned. I will continue to monitor the situation. I'm hoping to get an interview together in the next few days, preferably with one of these two players or perhaps someone close to the matter. If you want to get the latest updates and make sure you don't miss that, turn on notifications. There's a little bell you can check to stay tuned for all of the exciting stuff, guys. It's going to be a crazy main event. I'm happy to cover it. I'll be out there playing on the 5th. Looking forward to playing some poker and covering all of the biggest stories in the poker world. Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.